Here's the story that my grandfather told me as a young lad. The ant and the grasshopper lived in a field together. And every day they showed up kind of for their daily activities. And the ant would come out with all his ant buddies and they would start gathering up food. And they would carry the food and they looked like they were working so hard. And they would carry the food back to their home and they would bury it down in the ground. And occasionally they would do some other activities, but most every day, the most work they did was revolving around getting what they needed for the day and getting a little bit more than they needed for that one day so that they would have enough to get by today and they would have something for the future. And they did that every single day. And every day they would do just a little bit more than necessary to build up a storehouse down in their little anthole. Well, the grasshopper would come out to the same field every day and he frolicked and he played and he fiddled and he just enjoyed life and he looked at these ants toiling under the sun and says, "Are you people crazy? What are you doing over there? You guys are killing yourselves. There's no need to haul all that food away and put it in your hole in the ground. This is stupid. What are you doing? Look how much there is out here." And the ant turned to the grasshopper and the ant says, "Grasshopper, do you not understand that these days of abundance will eventually pass? That sooner or later it's going to get very, very cold and very, very dark and the snow and the ice are going to come. And if you don't have a place to go and you don't have something to sustain you after that happens, you're going to die. You're going to freeze to death and you're going to starve to death." And the grasshopper said, "You're nuts. I'm going to play and I'm going to dance and I'm going to fiddle. And I'm going to eat whatever I need, and I'm not going to worry because all I see is a field of green as far as I can see. As far as I can travel, I can find nothing but more and more green." And the ant said, "When it happens, don't come to us. We only have enough for our own family." And then the summer started to come to an end, and fall came, and the air was crisp and cool, and a lot of the grass started to turn brown and go away, but there was still plenty to eat. And the ant said, "Grasshopper, time is almost up. Please take responsibility for yourself." And the grasshopper said, This weather's great, man. What are you talking about? This is beautiful. I don't need to worry about this." And then one day the dark clouds came and the first flakes of snow began to fall and the grasshopper began to shiver and he began to try to warm himself and he tried to look for a place to hide from the snow, and then the snow got heavier. And there was still some grass, so he would run around in between the snowflakes and eat a little bit of grass. And then the snow came heavy and all the grass was covered in snow. And in the field of white snow, there was a green grasshopper freezing to death. And he thought, "I know, I'll go to the ants. They have food." But when he knocked on the ants' door, they didn't come out, and he stays out in the snow, and the grasshopper dies. Now that's the original story with some embellishments by me and some by my grandfather, and where the two disconnect, I don't remember anymore. But that's the basic fable from a dude named Aesop that wrote these fables to teach morality lessons a long, long time ago. And you can look up all the fables of Aesop, and you can find out that a lot of the modern stories that we tell today actually go back to there and are either versions of them or the exact story or somebody twisting one and make it a little different. Well, what happened not so long ago is people decided that the grasshopper dying was too traumatic for our children to hear. So Disney and other people made new versions where the grasshopper went, "Oh, Mr. Ant, help me." And the ant came out and said, "Oh, I'm sorry to see you like this. Come on in, buddy." And he shared a little bit, and the grasshopper got through winter and learned his lesson. Well, we're robbing our children when we tell them that story, folks. It's not the nature of a grasshopper to change. Grasshoppers are grasshoppers. They die every winter. Ants are ants. They prepare for winter. That's why the story exists in the first place. So if you're gonna tell your children the story, please tell them the truth. Tell them what really happened. Let me tell you what really happens to grasshoppers in a world of ants. When the grasshopper, long before the snow flies, the grasshopper dies, and then the ants cut him up in little pieces and take him home for food. That's what really happens to the grasshoppers, because ants eat grasshoppers. Now, I don't know if you need to tell your kids that bluntly, but the grasshopper needs to die in the story or the lesson's not learned. Because we are human beings. So when I say you could be an ant or you can be a grasshopper, it's by choice. We are not by nature an ant or a grasshopper. We're simply emulating the behavior of either one. And we have a human intellect and an ability to choose. So the human that's acting like a grasshopper can turn into an ant. And I hope that more of you will. But an actual grasshopper in the story, by his very nature, it's what his place in nature is. And Aesop didn't tell the story so that people would feel sorry for the grasshopper. He told the story so people would learn from nature.